So Harley said the Sportster is dead, but guess what? It's not. It just packed its bags and moved to China. Yeah, that same EVO engine, it's still being made, it's still being sold, but not by Harley Davidson and not in the United States. Nope, a Chinese company bought the factory tooling, kept the blueprints, and updated it for emissions, and they're selling it right now. The Harley EVO lives, y'all. Harley just forgot to tell you about it. Now look, Harley didn't exactly shout this from the rooftops. One minute, they're telling us the Sportster's being put out to pasture because it can't meet Euro 5 emissions. And then the next, a Chinese company, Shineray, is pumping out the same exact EVO engine that they just said was retired. But here's where it gets interesting. That engine didn't just magically pass Euro 5 standards. Shineray made some changes. Not major ones, nothing Harley couldn't have done, but they didn't. They just quietly sold the engine and moved on. So why? Inquiring minds want to know these things, like how did the EVO engine survive? How Shineray managed to modernize it, and why Harley has been so quiet about it? And what all this means for the brand and its fans. And what the hell is a Stormbreaker anyway, and can it possibly come to the US? Or is Harley trying to bury this story faster than an oil leak on a hot day? When Harley announced the end of the Sportster, a lot of us poured one out. I mean, the EVO engine is a legend. It's been around since the 80s. Air-cooled, tough as nails, easy to wrench on, and with just enough vibration to let you know you're alive. They said Euro 5 emissions killed it, but here's the thing. That engine, it's still alive. It's still in production, just not by Harley, and not in the United States. Because Harley sold the entire production line to a Chinese company called Shineray. We're talking factory tooling, blueprints, engine specs, the whole 9 yards. Shineray did not reverse engineer the EVO engine. They didn't crank out some sketchy replica with bad welds and a whole bunch of chrome. They're building legit EVO motors with Harley's own gear. It's like Harley handed in the keys to the Sportster Kingdom and said, good luck. We're out of here. And what did Shineray do with it? They launched a new bike called the Stormbreaker, a name that sounds like a Norse weapon or a Marvel prop, but under the hood, it's pure EVO. Same bore and stroke, same pushrod architecture, same glorious potato idol that rattles your feelings. It's not a clone, it's not a tribute, it's a direct descendant. I know, this sounds insane. How has it not made headline news in every motorcycle magazine out there? Probably because Harley didn't put out a press release saying, hey, we just outsourced one of our most iconic engines to China. Cheers. And here's the thing, when the Stormbreaker was announced, people did notice. There were stories out there like on rideapart.com, but people just thought it was a clone. They thought it was a replica or a ripoff. And they thought that for years. And I don't even know how this story broke recently or why it's suddenly come to light. But I'm giving credit to a video that popped up in my feed recently from Uncle Tony's Garage. Since then, a few people are talking about it, but still not very many. And when I started digging into it to verify this, it seems like new news. Ergo, this video. Why the hell isn't everyone talking about this? All right, let's rewind a second, because Harley told us that the Sportster had to go because of those nasty Euro 5 regulations. Too dirty, too slow, too many hydrocarbons flying out of the tailpipe like a fireworks show. Can't be done, they said. We'd have to redesign the whole engine, they said. Now, SWM hasn't officially published exactly what they did change, but based on what every manufacturer does to pass these stricter emissions guidelines, it basically meant a reworked ECU, cleaner fuel injection, a more efficient catalytic converter, and tighter tolerances across the entire motor. That's it. That's the magic. To be clear, Euro 5 standards are not a joke. They are way more than Euro 4 ever was. We're talking serious restrictions on nitrogen oxides, hydrocarbons, and carbon monoxide. Basically, if your bike farts anything but daisies, you're not getting certified. But Shineray made it work, and they did it with the same air-cooled pushrod V-twin design that Harley said couldn't be salvaged. So what gives? Was Harley lying? Not necessarily. Maybe they could have done it, but they just chose not to, because the cost didn't make sense. or because they'd already put all their chips into the new Revolution Max platform. But let's be honest here, if Shineray could do it without turning the EVO into a water-cooled spaceship, Harley could have done it too. Okay, so let's Sherlock Holmes this thing together. Harley comes out and says the EVO's done, the Sportster's dead, Euro 5 killed it. Next thing you know, Chinese company is building the same engine on the same tooling with a few tweaks to make the emissions legal. So why didn't Harley mention this? Why not say, hey, we're selling the EVO to overseas. It will live on through licensing. Simple, right? But nope, just crickets. Now, I'm not saying Harley was trying to pull a fast one here, but if you've been in the motorcycle business long enough, you know that Harley is a little bit selective about the information they choose to share. They like to control the narrative. And here's the thing. They had just launched the Nightster and the Sportster S and the whole Revolution Max line. So maybe they didn't want customers saying, but you said the old engine couldn't live on, but here it is being made by someone in China. From a PR perspective, it's not a good look. Imagine being the person in charge of this messaging. We're trying to convince people to accept the liquid-cooled future, so we can't have them asking why a Chinese company just pulled off what we told them was impossible. Even if it was a business decision, like let's say Harley just wanted to reduce the number of air-cooled engines or cut costs or exit certain markets, it still raises eyebrows. And don't forget, Harley has already been under a lot of pressure lately for things like dealer closings, rising prices, ridiculous fees, and just a general uncertainty about the direction for their future. The last thing they needed was a headline saying Harley sells Sportster's soul to China. So maybe the silence wasn't an oversight, maybe it was a strategy. Now here's the wild part. Shineray didn't just build an EVO engine prototype and stash it in a warehouse somewhere. They put it in a full-blown production bike, slapped a badge on it, and started selling it. Which brings us to, where the heck is this Stormbreaker even being sold? And could it ever make it to our side of the planet? Let's find out. Here's the kicker. This new Sportster style bike, it's not just some prototype sitting in a lab somewhere in China. It's actually being sold in Europe right now, rebadged and distributed by SWM, an Italian brand partially owned by Shineray. So no, it's not marketed as a Sportster in the EU, but under the skin, it's that same bike, with the Harley-born EVO engine roaring under a different badge. And this is straight from SWM official. Meet the Stormbreaker. And yes, it does sound like something Thor would ride into battle, but underneath that action movie name is a bike that looks suspiciously familiar. It's like the Sportster got sent to a witness protection program in Asia. It's not a direct clone of the old 883 or 1200, but it's got the same vibe. I mean, low-hung cruiser stance, solo seat, teardrop tank, and of course, that EVO air-cooled V-twin engine. Honestly, from 20 feet away, most folks wouldn't blink if you told them this was a new Harley model. It's hard to pinpoint exactly where this bike is being marketed, but there are SWM dealerships all over Europe. There's even a distributor right here in the good old US of A. And a lot of dealerships in the US advertise carrying SWM bikes. Now, as far as I can tell, this is just one or two dirt bike models right now. It doesn't appear like the Stormbreakers offered in the US, undoubtedly due to brand rights, probably some emissions regulations, and Harley probably has some contractual blockades on it. Could it come to the US? I wouldn't hold your breath. Harley still holds the brand rights in North America, and it's highly unlikely they're going to let a Chinese-made EVO Sportster roll into the US and park right next to a Sportster S. That's like showing up to your ex's wedding wearing their old high school Letterman jacket. Besides, let's be honest here, Harley's not going to endorse a cheaper air-cooled throwback cruiser that looks and sounds like the classic Sportster. Not when they're trying to convince everyone that liquid-cooled tech is the new religion. Bringing in the Stormbreaker would be like saying, hey, remember that old classic EVO engine that we said was dirty and had to go? Yeah, well, turns out it still rips. So yeah, if you want to ride a brand new air-cooled EVO Sportster, you'll need a passport and probably a translator app. But the real question is, why didn't Harley do what Shineray did? If it was that easy to make it Euro 5 compliant, why walk away from a legend? Look, Harley is not new to controversy. They have been getting absolutely roasted lately for dealer closures, overpriced accessories, delivery delays, bikes getting more expensive by the minute. And now this, a foreign country making emissions compliant versions of an engine that they said couldn't be saved. You gotta wonder, what does this really say about where Harley's head's at? Because this wasn't just a quiet tech decision, this was a legacy decision. They didn't just retire the Sportster. They offloaded its DNA to someone else, said nothing about it, and then expected no one to notice when that engine started popping up on bikes with Mandarin lettering in suspicious places. Now, to be fair, Harley's a business, and businesses make decisions to survive. I mean, they're shifting towards liquid cooling and performance metrics and trying to appeal to a younger crowd that might not give a damn about heritage. But here's the thing, you don't build decades of loyalty and then just ghost your fans without so much as a goodbye. That's not a strategy, that's brand betrayal. And the silence, that's just one more log on the fire for people who already think Harley has lost its way. I mean, people are still mad about the Livewire spinoff, still confused about the Sportster S being kind of sporty, but not really. Still ticked off that a Freedom machine costs 25 grand before dealer fees. So when those same riders find out that the dead engine is still alive and well in China, updated, compliant, and sitting on showroom floors right now with a sticker price of 8,500 pounds, it makes Harley look at best out of touch, and at worst, like they abandoned something people actually wanted. I'm not saying the Stormbreaker would have saved the brand, but if Shineray could do it, then Harley could have done something similar for the home crowd. Kept it affordable, kept it iconic, and kept the trust of their core riders. So here we are. The engine we were told was obsolete isn't. The company that built its legend moved on. And the riders who kept that legend alive, they're left wondering what could have been. So let's get real here. Harley did not kill the Sportster because they had to. They killed it because they chose to. Because in the boardroom, liquid-cooled engines, global strategies, and next-gen branding looked sexier than keeping the old EVO around for one more chapter. And maybe they didn't expect anyone to notice when that next chapter got ghost-ridden in China. Shineray has proven that the old EVO engine has still got some fight in it. And maybe that's what Harley misjudged here. Now, am I saying you should fly to Italy and buy a Stormbreaker? Of course not. But I am saying the next time somebody tells you a bike is dead, maybe double check that it didn't just change its zip code. So now I want to hear from you. Would you ride a Chinese-made EVO Sportster if it looked and felt like the real deal old school Sportster? Do you think Harley made a mistake giving up on that platform? Or was it time to move on? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. And hey, if you made it this far, like this video and share it with that one buddy who still thinks the Sportster died with dignity. And as always, ride hard, stay salty, and we'll see you in the next one.